As a leader, are you looking to develop any of the following between yourself and others in your organization? More trust, stronger relationships, buy-in, and commitment? And for yourself, how about executive presence, that X factor that has others stop and take notice? There are a couple of not-so-soft skills that, when applied in combination, will have those around you seeing you in a whole new light and admiring you as a leader. These skills are directing your full attention and listening deeply. It sounds really easy, and it can be once you've developed these skills and made them a habit. Unfortunately, most of us think we are better at these skills than we actually are. And if you want the benefits, you need to take an honest look at how you're doing. In this episode, we're covering why giving those around you your full attention and developing your ability to listen is so important and ways to develop those skills. If you are new to the Women Taking the Lead podcast, hello and welcome. I'm Jody Flynn. I'm an executive leadership coach, speaker, and author. I'm the current president of the board for the Maine Women's Conference, and I have the privilege and joy to work with women leaders to hone the skills and the mindset that allow them to grow into and then thrive in senior leadership. My specialization is working with women who are still stabilizing after their last promotion and those who want to be ready for the next one. It is my belief that for more women to hold positions of senior leadership, there are changes at the individual and organizational level that need to occur. Not only do women need to be trained and coached on how to operate at these levels of leadership, organizations need to change their paradigm of how the work gets done and what supports are in place for leaders to do their job. If we are not already connected on LinkedIn, please send me an invitation to connect. You can find me directly at linkedin.com/in/Jody Flynn, or you can search for Jody Flynn on LinkedIn. I'm very active on that platform, so I should be at or near the top of the search results. You'll see the follow button is prominent on my profile, but if you click on the more button to the right, you'll find the option to connect. Click on that and be sure to add a note to the invitation letting me know you're a listener of the podcast. I would love to connect with you and get to know you better. As a leader, it's difficult to really know what your team members are thinking, what's troubling them, or how to give them support unless you take the time to listen to them. And listening goes well beyond being quiet and giving someone your ear. It's an active rather than a passive pursuit. You want listening to be a primary function for you, considering the uncertainty in the workplace and the ongoing changes that are always taking place. As a leader, there needs to be a balance between the intensity and the desire to perform and giving compassionate attention to your team's needs. Like driving, almost everyone believes that they listen effectively. And as a result of that, very few people think they need to develop their listening skills, when in fact, listening effectively is something that very few of us do. It's not because listening effectively is difficult. Listening requires practice and habit forming, but most of us have never developed the habits that would make us effective listeners. Here are a few statistics that will really make you think about the importance of effective listening. 85% of what we know, we learn through listening. Humans generally listen at a 25% comprehension rate. I'm going to say that again because this stat blew me away. Humans generally listen at a 25% comprehension rate. That means most of us don't comprehend 75% of what's being communicated to us. And less than 2% of all professionals have had formal education or learning to understand and improve listening skills and techniques. It's just something we assume that everybody knows because we do it commonly, but we're not doing it well. Research has found that by listening effectively, you will get more information from the people you lead. You'll increase others' trust in you. You'll reduce conflict, you'll better understand how to motivate others, and you'll inspire a higher level of commitment in the people that you lead. By the time I began training as a coach, I had already had a successful career in mutual fund operations. I was promoted rapidly and yielded great results for my company. Additionally, through an anonymous survey, I had received high marks as a leader from my coworkers. What really moved me from those survey results was that my team expressed that they knew I cared about them, they felt that I had their back, and took their concerns and suggestions seriously. Sitting in my coach training after all of this, I was a little nervous venturing into something new, but I felt pretty confident that I was really good at listening and there wasn't much more for me to learn, at least in that regard. Boy, was I wrong. Learning about the 3 levels of listening was eye-opening for me. I'll give a quick overview now of those 3 levels, and if you want to dive a little more deeply into them, I covered them in a previous episode titled How to Supercharge Your Networking. The link to that episode can be found in the episode description in the app you're listening through right now, or at the bottom of the webpage if you're listening through the Women Taking the Lead website. The first and most common level of listening is subjective listening. At this level of listening, you are listening to answer the question, what does this have to do with me? Signs that you're listening at this level include that you are waiting for the other person to get to the point, or you're waiting for the other person to pause so you can speak. Like I said, this level is common. This is common everyday listening. So as long as you are not overtly being rude, no one has an issue with this level. But common listening as a leader is mediocre, and that's not something you're striving for. The second level of listening is objective listening. It's less commonly found in conversations than subjective listening. If you are able to listen objectively, you will likely be considered a really good listener. As it implies, objective listening is taking the focus off of yourself and placing it on the person you are talking to. Further, objective listening is listening to understand. The questions you ask in response to what you are being told will be thoughtful and relevant to the other person. The third and highest level of listening you can give another person is intuitive listening. This level of listening is so uncommon that when you bring this listening to a conversation, you will be regarded as a remarkable listener, truly extraordinary. Intuitive listening even has the ability to create a transformational experience. This is because you're not only listening to what is being said and listening to understand, you are listening for what is not being said and listening to understand who the other person is and what's important to them. When you are listening intuitively, you are taking in information such as tone of voice, volume, inflection, word choice, facial expressions, and body language. When you are listening this deeply, you not only pick up on what the other person is saying, you are also picking up on what they are leaving out. Such a state of curiosity is created from this level of listening that the questions you ask will cause the other person to reflect and perhaps consider a perspective that they had not seen before. I've also found when I have been actively practicing intuitive listening that I am in tune with my own intuition. And that may be where this level of listening gets its name. When I bring this level of listening to a conversation, I often have the experience of thoughts or images coming to my head, or questions come to me as if from left field. I have no idea where they came from. But when I share my thoughts or ask the question, it makes the conversation an experience neither myself or the other person had anticipated. This level of listening also creates immediate rapport and it quickly builds trust. such that it is not uncommon for the person I'm speaking with to say such things as, "I've never told anyone this before," or "I don't know why I'm telling you this." This is the level of listening I am inviting you to bring to your conversations at work or outside of work. I don't say this lightly. It will change your life and the lives of those you listen to. Are you getting value from listening to the Women Taking the Lead podcast? If so, could you do me a huge favor? Could you leave a rating and a review in your favorite podcast app? Ratings and reviews make a podcast easier to discover and let a potential listener know what you are getting from the podcast. Podcast reviews lend social proof that listening to the episodes is worth someone's time. You can leave the rating and review by going to the show page in your favorite podcast app. And I thank you in advance for taking the time to help me and the other women who will discover this show in the near future. True listening can be a very intense activity with a lot of interaction. When we are listening, we are supporting the other person verbally and non-verbally, lending them confidence and esteem. We are doing our best to create that particular positive environment where all the issues are discussed openly and the person is willing to be open. The best way to create an environment such as this is to give someone your full, undivided attention. Your full attention is powerful, and it lends that power to the people, situations, and tasks that you give it to. When you listen to people with exclusive, undivided attention, you let them feel significant, valued, and respected. You are building this invaluable atmosphere of trust and support with the person, and you are building a mutually beneficial long-term relationship. Also, the best way to get someone's full attention is to give them your full attention. It's hard to ignore someone who is giving you their full undivided attention. You almost feel drawn to them, like you're magnetized. If you want your team to be forthcoming with you and overcome any intimidation because you're more senior than them, or overcome any concern that you will not welcome their input, you have to go above and beyond and create a sense of safety. And something you want to think about, as much as your full attention can give power to others, your inattention takes that power away, leaving others feeling insignificant, unappreciated, and disrespected. Have you ever tried to talk to somebody who wasn't giving you their full attention? It's so frustrating and it can feel so demeaning. Behaviors that can prevent creating that positive environment for open discussion include interrupting others when they are speaking, being judgmental and jumping to conclusions, scribbling, shuffling documents, cleaning lenses, fiddling with objects such as pens, paper clips, etc., looking at your phone or a screen, taking a call, or checking emails. Behaviors that can help create that positive environment for open discussion include walking around to engage your team in conversation, tilting your head while listening, asking relevant follow-up questions, nodding, making sporadic eye contact, orienting your body towards the other person, and expressing genuine concern and interest. Workplaces are becoming increasingly more diverse and multi-generational. Leaders who listen to their people are in a much better position to lead organizations into the future. And there is no one approach fits all. To understand the varying needs of your team, you have to gain your trust so they feel comfortable sharing their needs with you. Here are some suggestions to make listening and giving others your full attention a habit. Create space in your day. Building on a recent episode, how to show your team your appreciation, especially if it doesn't come naturally to you, You want to manage your calendar and stop booking yourself out throughout the entire day. Can someone on your team go to a meeting in your place? Do your meetings need to be an hour, or could 30 minutes suffice? Give yourself time for reflection and space throughout the day so that when you are talking with someone, you can give them your full attention. Give your attention to the person who is speaking to you. Put down your phone. Close your laptop. See if doing this makes you more energized about the work and the people with whom you work with. Stay in the moment and be respectful of others. Seek to understand first. Actively listen, actively speak, and actively ask more questions. The next time a colleague or team member asks for advice, make sure you're listening and understanding the situation. Then, before answering, clarify what they really need. Usually, it's just validation that their thinking is on the right track. Be mindful. Be tuned in to the dynamics that are taking place around you at all times. Take note of what is being said and how people are saying it. Also, be mindful of how you are showing up. As the leader, everyone is watching your every move and action. If you appear disconnected, you are perceived as disinterested, distracted, and bored. Recall information previously shared. Try to remember key concepts, ideas, or other critical bits of information the speaker has shared with you in the past. This demonstrates that you're not only listening to what they're saying currently, but you're able to retain information and recall specific details. This makes people feel important and worthy. It's critical. Now, what habit or skill can you develop to make you a better listener? What can you do to allow your full attention to be given to another person? I'll end this topic with a quote from Dr. Lori Buchanan, a holistic health practitioner and author of the book, The Business of Being. When we listen, we hear someone into existence. When we listen, we hear someone into existence. If you are interested in finding out more about my process, the cost of coaching, or how to ask your employer to pay for you to work with a coach, schedule a time to chat with me. You can find that link in the episode description. If you're listening through a mobile device, that link will be in your podcast app. If you are listening through the Women Taking the Lead website, the link will be toward the bottom of the episode webpage. There's also a link in there to access a checklist that will help you to prepare to ask your company to sponsor you to work with the coach. If you would like some coaching on how to do that, right, I invite you to schedule a time to just chat with me. There is no cost for this. I want to support you to be able to advocate and ask for what you need. And as always, I hope this was of value to you, and here's to your success.